Hey guys, welcome to this video, Mind Spill. And I just wanted to talk about human beings, us being creatures of loop. One thing human beings always love to do is get comfortable. Once we're comfortable with our daily routines, you wake up, you do the same thing, your daily morning routines, you put on your facials, whatever, bro. You go to the gym, you eat the same breakfast, everything, bro. It's all part of the process, keep doing it every day. So once your brain recognizes that pattern, you're already in a loop. So you wake up every day thinking you got to do that to maintain a healthy lifestyle or whatever you're trying to accomplish. And that's fair. If it works for you, that's good. But then knowing this part of our nature is something that can be easily manipulated and taken advantage of. And the people that lay down the foundation for the way the world is today, they understood that. That's why they put in loops for us to follow every day. So in case, like, just to satisfy that natural urge to just keep doing something, just stay in the comfort zone. And the moment you can fall into that trap of just living life on autopilot, doing the same things every day, you wake up, you go to the gym. Like, I'm not saying that's bad though, but you got to be able to see and recognize the patterns sometimes and know that you're operating from a point of comfort just to stay in the same loop, because anything that threatens that comfort zone, we don't even entertain it, bro. We feel like it's not the best thing for us. And that's fair. If you're living your life very good like that, that's good for you, bro. Keep it up. But then if you want to step outside that comfort zone and know that there's a lot more you can accomplish, bro, it's so easy to just adapt a new self-image, bro. And that's the reason why your self-image and your sense of self is very key. Because once you understand these loops that you go through every day, you know how to break out of it, and you know how to just make sure you stay outside your comfort zone. And the only way you can grow is by stepping outside your comfort zone, because doing something you're not familiar with, it takes time to get used to it. We like comfort so much. Some people just like to wake up, do the same shit every morning, do the same shit every day, and you're perfectly fine. They live a very fulfilled life that day. But once you understand you keep doing the same thing every day and you don't see much growth, then it's time to actually pinpoint and tackle that system of loop you keep going through, because your brain doesn't even register you're going in a loop. It's just like the hamster running on the wheel. You just keep going in cycles, till you just spent your whole life doing the same thing every day thinking you are making the right choices. Although you might be making the right choices at that right time, but then knowing when to step outside of that comfort zone, that loop, then you can always grow from that, because it's so easy to get trapped in that cycle of thinking, yeah, I'm doing the right thing, I'm comfortable doing this, and I just got to do the same thing every day. And that's perfectly fine, but then you got to grow at some point. You can't stay the same your whole life. You got to grow, man. You got to grow. You got to just identify these patterns, bro. It's not easy when you're not actively paying attention. That's why you got to stay conscious every day. You got to be aware of your thoughts. You got to be aware of your actions, because they all play a key factor in determining how the type of life you live. And if you're perfectly fine living a very comfortable, mediocre life, that's good for you, bro. Not everybody lives a mediocre life. Some people are perfectly fine doing the same thing they do every day as long as they're happy, and that's good. I encourage that. If you want to grow at an exponential rate, you have to break these cycles. It's the same with family cycles, generational cycles. Some people date the same type of people every time because that's the only thing their brain is recognized to do, to go for, to get attracted to. Some people have attachment styles that runs in the family because that's the same way they see their family or their parents love each other. That's the same thing. It's kind of a loop, and the brain is always wanting to latch on to something that it can feel comfortable doing every time. That's why some people just repeat the same generational cycle, and it never stops. It never stops within that bloodline. So it's just something you gotta be aware of. Like, okay, where am I falling into the trap of the loop? And you know how to break it. And once you can identify it, you know how to break the cycles and live your life on your terms, because you have control over everything, bro. You have control over your thoughts, you have control over your mindset, you have control over your actions. And once you can understand that, and you know you can identify certain patterns you don't like or you're trying to get rid of, it's just about being in control. Once you're aware, you have control, and that's the only way you could break any cycles and, you know, move on and just do better things in life, man. You know, it's just something that I just thought about because it's something I find myself falling victim to, because it's so easy to just wake up every day and do the same thing, you know. But then I try to channel it, you know. I try to be diverse. I try to be dynamic sometimes and just do something this way today, do something very erratic tomorrow, just because I like to just surprise myself. You know, I make certain life decisions sometimes where my regular rational self wouldn't make, but then I just do it just because I want to develop myself, just for the fun of, just for the plot of self-development. But then it's not easy though, because I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. But then at the same time, I know I'm growing. I'm becoming a better version of myself. I'm becoming more confident. I'm doing whatever, bro. I'm starting to see things from a different perspective. My sense of self, everything's changing. That's the only way I feel like I've been able to grow, by being in the same environment. But then I just like to spice it up and just do something different, bro, because that's the only way you could grow in life, man. And once I noticed that, bro, I try not to fall into traps, bro. You know, just falling into the trap of everyday life. You know, society has made us feel like we gotta live the same lives every day. You gotta do the same thing on certain days. You know, on Saturdays you go out to the restaurant, on Fridays you go to the club. Who said that, bro? Like, come on, who woke up that? Like, who just said, okay, Fridays we gotta do this. Okay, Saturdays we got, like, no, bro. Like, literally somebody just came up with that and everybody just followed it because it's comfortable. It's a cycle. They see everybody doing it, so the brain is automatically gonna register that that's what we're supposed to do on a Friday. Bro, if I want to go to the club on a Monday, as fucked up as that sounds, bro, I could do it just because I don't want to follow anybody's patterns or cycle. But then you just gotta know how to balance it and know that, okay, yeah, you're still living in a very, you know, in a society where these things have been enforced on people subconsciously. But then once you can break out of that cycle or pattern, bro, you see life for what it really is, and you can always live the life you want, man. It's so easy to create your life. You just gotta be willing to, you gotta be dedicated to it and know, you know, and just avoid certain loops of living the same way every day. Once you start building a new life, it's so easy to fall into the trap of living that same way every day. But then you just gotta identify, okay, I live this way for a certain period of time. It's time to switch it up. It's time to be dynamic. You know, you can't stay boring your whole life. So yeah, stop being boring. You know, switch it up, man. You know, wake up today. You know, tell somebody you love them for no reason, bro. Just because you never did that before. Your brain doesn't recognize that. So just switch it up every day. Yeah.